Well, salam alaikum and good evening and shukran or thank you for having a look at ARL. We are approaching the middle of season 3, round 12 of 26, Abu Dhabi. A track which has seen memorable races both in the real world and in the virtual world, also in ARL. Title deciders, drama, safety cars, tire gambles, track limits. All of them are no strangers to this racetrack. So far, the trends of Season 3 seem to continue. We have a very fast qualifier in Lucas. Chris is most probably not on pole. Max Duca is in the top 10. And we have quite a few runners who are not yet active. Now we have a little bit of a picture problem, but most of them resolve themselves. There we go. Time heals all wounds, even the technical ones. So then, 4 people still to set a lap time. We're looking at the best classified in the championship of them, a rifler. He has done the step which before him was made by Alex Albon in 2019, getting from AlphaTauri, what used to be Toro Rosso, into the Red Bull Works team. Although this time it was not an exchange, it was merely a replacement because the original Red Bull driver Frankie had to step back from his ARL standard driver position. And we'll see what his first flying lap will result in. Let's hope he keeps within the track limits. He does. And it's pole. So we've just witnessed provisional pole for the majority of the lap. Let's see what Headset has to do. Very nice. P5. We are still missing the second AlphaTauri to be piloted by let's see. Originally it should have been A-Lord, but I believe he is registered from the race. So it should be the new guy called Chair or Chairs, but apparently he hasn't found a lobby yet. But he still has 8 minutes to go, and with one lap lasting a little less than 1.5 minutes, there is still time. Seems there has been a little misunderstanding between Danny and Rickard. That might have explained why Rickard was so slow in setting a time. And just to explain why I will not be so fast to talk and so much talking, I'm, as our main streamer, still fighting with a cold. It is on its way out, but the voice is not where it usually is. Tony Montana. Never seen that one before. Is that another name? So then, the Alpine. Brizin, the last one to set the time. And where does it bring him to P4? Good racer he is. Enjoyed times with him both in F1 CD and in Phoenix Racing League. Now, as for the currently last placed Ferrari, we can only hope that Danny's connection issues have been resolved. Whilst we're looking at a quick technical reset. So then, 5.5 minutes to go until the last valid start of a fast lap, and 83 seconds more until the last flying lap is over. Not quite sure what could be the yellow flag for, but it's already gone again. Well, then he is driving very smoothly through sector 2 and 3. The backshift in that corner is an unusual thing for me, but maybe it brings him a good lap time. Ooh, that was very tight. Is that still valid? It is. But it does not bring him up the standings, just a little closer to P18. Which is also reasonably unusual. Matt Pryor is not usually seen at that part of the grid. But in a field of 19, somebody has to be 18. I remember in season 1 it was the now 5th place Bosco who scored his first points in the season finale in Abu Dhabi. So it is little surprised that he is at the same level or a little bit above his teammate Rickard. They both come off a very, well, dynamic race in Las Vegas, but wasn't it dynamic for everyone? We had a threesome in the last lap for the lead, and some penalties to be applied after the race to change the face of the podium, with welcoming currently 15th placed Artyom Vlasov to the podium for the first time, him accidentally also being the last one within a second of current pole. So then, the ones who are earliest will start their out laps now. Yes, there is movement in the pit lane. Whilst one Ferrari, I guess it's Castle, also known as Milan. No? Ah, that was Danny coming in. Alright. He should still have time to try another lap. On the tire front, I don't think there will be anything special to expect. Probably medium soft. I don't think we will see the hard tires in action, but I might be wrong. After all, the game doesn't need to always one-on-one reflect the reality. Oh well, there we go. Our usual streamer, who has also currently lost his voice, lets me know that he thinks we will see the hard tires. And yes, he is probably right. Although I'm pretty confident that probably Max Duca will be the one trying to avoid the hard tire, as he has done in most of the races so far. Now, let's have a look at this grid to see the top 10 within 7 tenths, and currently the top 16, no, still the top 15 within 1 second. Well, that looks as if we might see a very nice DRS terrain during the race. If we are lucky, it's at the very front. If we are unlucky as spectators, it might be that if Reifler times his first laps very well, that he might be breaking away. But if he manages, fair play to him. So then, the former streamer is starting his last flying lap, whilst we are jumping around to the Williams of Pan Cadillac, always a good contender. Abu Dhabi not known to be his strongest circuit, but we are open for surprises. Now then, official time is up, so no more flying laps after now. Pan Cadillac remains currently in P8. Vlasov is gaining 5 positions to P11. The Baby Drew replaces Pan Cadillac on P8. Verstappen gets within the second. Lucas supports. What else? Matt Pryor still within the bottom 5. Now then, Danny is still on a lap. Reifler, Chris, Prisin, all still on hot laps. Let's see who comes in next. Hatchet, P3. Nice. Apparently getting more hours in. Chris, again, not on pole, but that doesn't have to mean that he won't win the race. Now then, Reifler stays with his 22.256. And Max Duca also finishes. Chris retired from the session for whatever reason. Lewis behind his teammate in qualifying this time. And that is all through. We have 30 replacing Sem on a position which could normally also be occupied by Sem, but it's all very, very close. P1 to P16 within 1 second. That is beautiful. And apparently the newcomer Chair or Chairs is not making it. That is a shame. But 19 are a good crowd too in Abu Dhabi. Many moons ago, it was an F1 CD in the 100% race where I won my first league race in Abu Dhabi. It was on the old circuit, and there was a safety car 5 laps from the end, and many people had a lot of penalties, and I didn't, and so that was the right thing to do. And the same thing will happen today again. invalidation in qualifying or time penalties in the race are a real factor. So let's see who manages that best. I'll be back in an instant. So then, I'll have three things helping my voice through the race. Apple juice, Swiss chocolate and Tonka Gai, but that is not important anymore. We are looking at the start, Red Bull versus Mercedes in the front row. It looks like 2021, but it's ARL Season 3. And, oh my goodness me, that is not 2021, that is worse, but, oh no, oh, well. What a threesome. And who would have guessed it? It is almost like the shadow of the real 2023. The season dominator is leading with less than half a lap gone. And now, is there another collision in this corner? Well, of course there is. I mean, wow, what an opening lap. This is the most un-ARL-like opening lap I've ever seen. Oh my goodness me. But reality repeats itself, and we have people starting on hards, for goodness sake. And Rickard, wow, oh my goodness me, that must be the opening lap of the heavens for Aston Martin. P2 and P3. Oi. Nice battling here between pole setter Rifler and Slayer. And wow, we have already the first 3-second penalty for Jumbo. Mamma mia, what an opening lap. And we have 5 hard runners at the front. Wow. How wrong can one be? Oi. Well, and we have even one DNF. And Lucas has spun again? Oh my, this race is chaotic, to say the least. So then, 1.5 laps gone. The top 3 are still within 1 second. It looks like Chris is not making the quick breakaway. But of course, the fact that he is leading now is already surprising enough, considering he started in P4. Now, I'm sure we'll get the replay from F1 Senna or Luis Furtado to know why he is already not part of the race anymore. I didn't catch that. His car is stationed in corner 2. That is very odd. Now it seems to be moving again, but how is that possible? Does he have some kind of desync or whatever? Well, and now he has disappeared. So then, the rest of the field is still reasonably together, but Lucas, the P2 on the grid is chasing with 6 seconds distance and maybe some damage. Wow. So then, lap 3 is already upon us. DRS will be enabled. The leaders come to the DRS zone, and we might see an Aston Martin leading very soon. Lucas DNF as well, but he went into the pits. What happened there? It's a 29 lap race. Why retire after 2 laps? I hope he didn't have any controller issues. Ooh, well, maybe controller issues are what 13 Edge is experiencing, having a spin out of that corner. And Chris has stayed in the lead. Does that mean that he pushed his battery, or is he just beginning to be too fast for the Aston Martins? Top 3 have created a double gap, so to speak, because Jumbo is out of DRS window and already has a penalty. Now, Prison, he was around P10 on the grid, now on the back, but still running and fighting. There is still a lot to happen in this race. We'll have some disappointed faces. Lucas, he had a stream of podium, or at least podiums during a race, and now he's off. Huh. That's very unlike him. So then, Aston Martins are keeping in DRS, but we see the gaps are getting bigger. Max Duca on Cadillac? No. Oh! And there's Slayer and Verstappen getting to know each other a bit better. Oh, here we have double DRS. 13 Edge on Verstappen and Slayer. Verstappen losing 2 places. So apparently a powerful DRS. 13 Edge already flashing the light, which means his battery must be low. There was a Ferrari running wide. That might have been Danny or Castle. No, looks like Castle from the track point. Whew. Front is becoming tighter. Rickard just closed in half a second. Was that a mistake? He's looking good. But I guess since he will not believe his luck to be in P2 so early in such a good position, maybe he doesn't want to make this a fight for the lead. Because so many laps with DRS and no attack, it seems as if he is happy where he is. Same cannot be said for Hedgehog, starting within the top 4 and now having to fight back. Ooh, Ferrari wide, that is Castle. He's also not behaving in accordance with what would be usual. The Baby Drew is taking over Pursuers group from Jumbo. It's an interesting race, to say the least. And I have to say, the racing on this track has definitely improved with the modifications. So 2021 rebuild definitely is a success. There are now overtakings possible not only on the DRS zones, but also before the DRS zones, and if you are really ambitious in the third sector. First sector, still difficult, as we have seen at the start. So then, first DRS train, first 3, second DRS train P4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, third DRS train P10, 11, 12, fourth DRS train P13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So, one field in 4 DRS trains, and we can see that, no, Lucas has not closed the gap, he has retired. So then, the rest of the survivors are within 4 groups. It will be difficult to catch up from one group to another, but it might be possible to fall back from one group to the next, depending on how the tires behave. Surprising that the second group is being headed by two hard drivers. Headset having good look at Reifler. Those two, well, front row positions didn't last very long. No, sorry, Hedgett wasn't in the front row. Was the other was the other one. But those two could work together. If Reifler and Hedgett work together, they might catch Vlasov and the second DRS train, to which we are looking now with Max Duca behind the second of the Williams, Pan Cadillac. Nothing changed there. But that might not remain the same much longer. Oh, there we have tire smoke, but from whom? It seems as if it's a permanent feature almost. And, well, we have a lead duel. Oh, and what a nice one it is indeed. Oh, close stuff. I think that gets a potential warning for Ricker, but he's meaning business. No more being content in P2. I like it. Haha, good. Same tires, same speed. Lovable. Who knows? I just heard this afternoon a documentation, a podcast about Hungary 1989, where Nigel Mansell did the trick that Prost did in Mexico 1990. Later, he focused on the race setup and not on qualifying. Who knows? Maybe Rickard has the best race setup here. Suzuka 1989 will be another one in that statistic. But it's getting hot. I like it. So then, are the top three gonna be the same after this straight? Probability sinking. Well, sinking but not zero. Now, this is more ARL-like. Good fights all through the field. Good, clean racing. But this opening lap was something else. Now the last group is losing a lot. Oh, mamma mia. Is that the breakthrough for Chris? Yes, that long left-hander is very tricky. And now Chris must... Well, he can either play on time, or he can push to break the second. Now don't overdo it in this one. No one overdid it, and Rickard just about stays within a sec. Ooh, I believe the DRS detection point was already passed. We'll hear it very soon. No! Oh my, that must mean that the DRS detection point was extremely close before the corner. But that braking maneuver seems to have done the trick for the second DRS zone. Yes, there is the tone, there is the beep. Somehow the standings are not quite keeping up, but we don't mind. The pictures are more important. So then, the third group still has not quite reached the second group, but they're getting closer. Hedgett had passed Reifler. Of course, what we don't know is if there is damage from the first lap on any cars. Now then, the top three are back within, and well, what was that? Well, oh my. So then, A pit stop after 10 laps on hard tires, that must mean damage repair, and yes. Front wing comes off, and we have the second 3-second time penalty. Not a good moment for the two Red Bulls in this race. And it seems as if Chris is doing a Hamilton of 2016. He is just managing to keep out of the DRS window in the first sector, but in the second DRS zone he gets caught, but not too much. Very good driving, very clever. Well, what else would you expect by the guy who has won the majority of races and is in a league almost of his own when it comes to the standings. So then, it is lap 10.1 that is breaking the back of the Aston Martins. It would appear so. Rifler meanwhile has changed to the medium tire. Will that last 19 laps? Or even 20 in his case? The rest of the race will show. We have another yellow. That looks like Max Duca because it's the only Alpha left. Unfortunately it is. What was it? Was it a spin? Was it a collision? Whatever it is, it was a loss of time in turn 1. And falling back to the end of, from the middle of the second DRS train to the end of the third DRS train. The two Aston Martins are not changing position, but Chris has apparently now finally broken the DRS. Yet, the second DRS train is starting to come closer to the two Aston Martins. And we do have a change of position within Aston Martin. Although it's not quite sure whether Rickard is happy with that. Well, but with only 14% battery, maybe he has no other choice. So if he gets a few laps behind his teammate, he can recharge the battery and hope that they somehow stay away from the other DRS train, but it doesn't look likely. And Max Duca has another spin. I don't think that tells anything good about either his tires or something else. So then, if the medium runners are already starting to struggle and none of them are in the top 5, looks as if the positions that we have at the moment will be cemented through the rest of the race. Now we have a Aston Martin show run in turn 5 and the two DRS groups have met, but Chris has disappeared. Now then, Jumbo versus Ray. Well, it might have looked a little less dramatic from the actual cockpit, but it looked very dramatic in this shot. So then, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 6th person. Not to worry, my dear, you are delivering good pictures. We can follow the race. And Matt Pryor and Hedgehog and Vlasov are still struggling to catch up to that group. I think they might have damage as well, or they just started with the wrong tires. Anyway, Rifler is making the tire as well, got the fastest lap. We have another caution. That's a Ferrari this time. It's the former streamer who has found himself in a bit of a tight spot. Reminds me a bit of Kimi 2015 USA. But on the other hand, Danny seems to not only have fixed his connection, but also seems to have his best race of the year so far. Or of the season, I have to say. Oh. So now the two Aston Martins, well, they hold position, but for how much longer? Not for much longer. Bosco loses out in the infight with with Jumbo. And now loses track of the DRS train as well, unless he has fantastic third sector. So then it's starting to thin out a bit. Now Jumbo has an issue, but what is that? That seems to have been just the wrong brake balance. He seems to be able to continue. Now we have two Williams side by side. So, apart from some dramatic infights, the race is starting to be a little bit more static, so either a few pit stops or a safety car or both would be quite welcome now. Max Duca has changed to the hard tires, so even that prediction has shown to be not right, and now we slowly seem to have a few messages regarding the first lap, or not. F1 Senna didn't seem to be too happy with prison. Well, they were on a similar place to start with. Oh, Ferrari and Williams looking close at each other. We haven't seen a lot of that since 1997. And now we're not far away from a McLaren 1-2. We've had it before, and it might happen again. And in all of that, we're not far away from the halfway point of the race. The end of lap 14 approaching, meaning that we're looking at 48% of the race already done. And we have a first hard pit caller in Rickert. That might be clever in order to escape the DRS train and gain a little bit of time on the leader, who is unfortunately already 4 seconds ahead. So, let's follow the dots. Rickert is very close to Reifler. I hope he didn't catch any penalty on the pit out, but I think not. That seems to be working well. He's got the... Oh no, wait a second, that's Verstappen. So we have two pairs of Red Bull and Aston Martin. In both cases, Aston Martins are starting to overtake. Yes, indeed. That bites very well for Rickert. Now he has 6 seconds of clear track and new tires. Well, might be a long shot to get back into Chris's DRS window, but he's got all the possibilities. Verstappen will soon have a visit from the other Aston Martin, and, well, our race leader does the sensible thing. Half a race on hards, half a race on mediums. Number 91. Oh, and we have a double stack for McLaren. That's unfortunate. Although the second stop was blindingly fast. Maybe it was just something going slightly wrong in the picture. So let's hope that Chris's front wing survived that tunnel maneuvering. And yes, we see Rickert within 2 seconds already. So the undercut was very powerful. And the baby Drew has lost out big time. Ui. Out in the middle of this pack. P9, for goodness sake. Oh, it looked like 4 wide at one point. Good action. Now this is much more ARL-like. And we have a double lead for the Alpines currently. Matt Pryor ahead of Prison. Who would have thought that after Matt Pryor was struggling to get such a great position? Hedgehog and Jumbo getting to know each other better. Better end for Hedgehog currently. And the double lead for Alpine is over. Although Prison is staying out, but where was he overtaken? He must have been overtaken on the start-finish line. Very odd. But we have a double DRS, and Rickert is looking good to catch a little bit of ground on the leader, on the championship dominator. Unfortunately, Rickert does not have much battery left, but the race and championship leader doesn't know that. Oh, there seems to be a pile up in the hairpin, and the dark red dot standing would indicate Max Duca once again. Oh my god. Max, it's not your evening, is it? But who knows? 12 laps to go, everything's still possible. Particularly if the fights are as intense as here. Only one little misjudgment and we have a safety car. It's not Haas versus Williams, so it's not like Mick Schumacher and Go Tiffy, but packages seem eager enough to race, which is good. So then, front three are static again, but P4 could change. Pan Cadillac is very close and is past Reifler. Tire age looks reasonably similar, except on Reifler. Prison is trying to make the softs last 12 laps, good luck for that. The baby Drew is working his way back up. He has had a really bad position after the pit stop, so really either bad luck or bad timing, and a nice tag slapper there. But he stays in front. Hedgehog, the only representative of AlphaTauri tonight, in the points, looking good for his first points in ARL. No penalty, but two in front of him have penalties. And there is another yellow, and it is... No. Max Duca again. Mamma mia. Well, if I were him now, I would stay still for 10 seconds and cause a safety car. I'm sure they still have this bug in F123, which they had in F122. But he does not seem to do that. But he is last now. Behind Castle, the former streamer. Meanwhile, the baby Drew has come past Jumbo. But now... Ooh. Close stuff. Yeah, Danny is really in the mix today, that's good. And we have the baby Drew attacking and passing Reifler. Jumbo has not made it past yet, but that might be just a matter of seconds. This corner here is so tight. Here you really need a mistake of the guy in front in order to get past, but it's not impossible to happen. Reifler is sliding. Oh, and there, oi. Mamma mia. Well, we said all it needs is one misjudgment, but we are not yet having safety car. Yet Jumbo, despite his car Despite his car moving, he seems to have left. Yes, bad habits returning. Is that the safety car? It is apparently not. Nope. Track is green again, but that's done it for Reifler. Reifler entered the pits. Another set of mediums should give him the fastest lap. And Vlasov does a little pirouette exiting that corner. Yes, that's very easy to do. I've done it myself countless times. Headset on the Ferrari. Not quite. Is Aston Martin and ARL gonna manage what they didn't manage in real life? Thanks to the strolling pace of one of their team members. A double podium. It looks likely, but Pan Cadillac is within the ERS window of Bosco, and Hedgehog doesn't need to overtake Danny on track anymore, strictly speaking. But of course he would love to, and he has every possibility to. 46% battery, and the DRS zone coming up. Now judge the braking well, and execute. Pan Cadillac definitely has something something against the double Aston Martin podium. He would like to be there himself, and who can blame him? Hedge made it past on the first DRS straight, but he might face a rebound on the second one. Yes, indeed, Danny is passed again. Ooh, that looked almost like a collision from the air. Was that a little notch? Well, we certainly know that if it stays that way, Danny has the first DRS on the next lap. Meanwhile, they don't look likely to catch the Baby Drew, but the Baby Drew is catching the fight for P3. Which is now a threesome for P3. It will be a matter of protecting the battery and the tires. Maybe slight advantages for Pan Cadillac because he has the hard tires, or for the Baby Drew because he has the youngest tires. This corner is so tight, so easy to misjudge. And was that another little notch? Well, definitely double podium from Aston Martin is currently out of sight, but 7 laps to go is a long time. And the fight between Ferrari and AlphaTauri is still raging. It is a nice fight, but unless Hedgehog catches himself a 3-second penalty, it's only a fight on the track and not for the real result. Max Duca, meanwhile, has need to get himself the minimal target of not finishing in last position. He should do that because the driver in front of him has penalties and is definitely less than 3 seconds away. Now we are looking at slightly slow-moving pictures, but they're starting to come back. Yes, there we go. Ferrari AlphaTauri next round, and P3 next round. Is it going to be a double McLaren podium instead of a double Aston Martin podium? It certainly is right now. But will Pan Cadillac keep it that way? And here, Hedgehog getting past Danny on track as well as on paper. So I have to say, if anybody begged for a Santa Claus present in ARL, most likely they were begging for was a dynamic race in the field, because they definitely got that. But I have to say, in terms of quality, it was not the highest race of them all within ARL, but who knows. I mean, if you look at Swiss traditions, sometimes you have a little bit of Glühwein at Santa Claus Day. So who knows, maybe that tradition has swapped over to the Netherlands and some of the drivers have had a little bit of Glühwein or other forms of nice, warm, slightly alcoholic beverages that might have influenced driving a little bit. Well, whatever it was, the fight for P3 seems to be extremely sober and extremely tight. And it remains that way, and extremely clean. And as the laps are ticking down, Max Duca is still witness me in the fight for last place. Ay, ay, ay. What a difference a couple of seasons make. In season 1 he was putting it on pole in Abu Dhabi and was looking to win the race. Well, in the end, there were two guys who had something against it, Lennart and Sven Nydam, which was all the good for me, because like this I could finish just behind him in P4 and win the championship by 1 point. But mamma mia, hard times for him. Well, it's not only hard times for him, I also had a reasonably hard month health like this time, but it's no good. We all go through these times. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Although today I have to say I read a meme that said what doesn't kill us now might try to kill us again later. So let's hope it's one of the first. Yeah. But here we go. P3, next round. Now this is proper ARL stuff. Look at this. 2 10s, 3 10s. Meanwhile, Rifler is starting to get close to the points again, but he still has a penalty. And the fight for the last place is still rumbling. I'm so sorry. Oh, poor Max. But not poor baby Drew Pan Cadillac and Bosco. This will be interesting to see coming on to the DRS straight where they are entering now. The first 2 are done. Now let's get back on the DRS straight. Thank you, yes. Something's gonna happen very soon. 4 10s between these 3, but ooh, that was quite a slide from Bosco. So yeah, if they finish in this order, I would not be entirely surprised, but I don't think it will remain the same order all the time. 2 DRS open. Bosco is trying to get around the outside, but doesn't make it. 3 laps to go. Safety car still no possibility, it seems. As a consequence, it might be that Pan Cadillac has the best tires, because he has the hard ones. And the fact that the baby Drew can't get away would certainly underline that. Hedgehog has meanwhile climbed up to P6. So has there been another collision, or maybe I just overlooked the places. Oh, and yeah, we see that Bosco with 13 lap-old mediums is definitely starting to slide. So from a threesome it might become a twosome. And there we are in the middle of that twosome. 41% battery for the Williams. And 2.5 laps to go. No need to overtake yet. The race might come to him and his tires unless he overheats them behind, in which case it would be better to pass. So that he can give some dirty air to the baby Drew, which he definitely tries to do. It was a very risky maneuver, but he does it. He does it, and I would say that should give the potential advantage to Pankadlek for P3, and Bosco is not giving up at all. Let's just hope that he doesn't kill his tires during the process. Hedgehog and Danny have caught up to this, making it a DRS train of 5 for P3, although Danny is not really in it because he has the time penalty. Surprising developments. So the fight for P3 has apparently slowed all them down. No slowing down for Chris, no slowing down for Rickard, no need, 6 seconds, 2 laps, easy peasy. That accounts for both of them. But then, now, tires and wings versus DRS. Pankadlek does not yet need to defend too much on this lap. Of course, track position is nice, but it's the final lap that counts. But any time, any moment he stays in front of the baby Drew, he gives the baby Drew dirty air and tire temperature. Ooh, but he might not have calculated with Bosco. So if he really wants that podium, he should keep Bosco behind, which he does. Good driving, good thinking, I would say. Unless there is a collision, Pankadlek looks very well placed for that third podium position. Unless, of course, Hedgehog can pull something magic out of the bag in the last lap, in which they now are. Wow. 0.4, 0.2, 0.3, 0.1. That is 1 second covering 5 people for P3 on track. And Max Duca has probably pitted. Yes, he might be chasing the fastest lap. That is of secondary interest. Hedgehog attacking Bosco. That takes care of the double podium for Aston Martin, and the double podium for McLaren is also not looking very realistic anymore because the baby Drew had a huge tank slapper out of that corner. So then, 3 persons without penalties fighting out P3. Bosco, Hedgehog and Pankadlek. Pankadlek has the best cards. Hedgehog is very close on P4. No penalties, but not many corners left. 13 Edge is getting some more points for Mercedes, or not, because of the penalties, but what is with beyond doubt is the winner, not for the first time Chris. Rickard P2, good fighting back from Vegas, and we have Pankadlek with his hard tires on P3, Bosco P4, Hedgehog P5, the baby Drew P6, Danny P7. And the next places depend on the penalties. On track, it would be 13 Edge and Reifler, but all in all, it's going to be Matt Breyer, Vlasov, and Brizin taking the last points. Of course, as usual, this is very provisional. We do not know. And Max Duca is on his mission fastest lap. Danny Castle has had a spin. And in a few seconds I'll screenshot the results. So, a new soft tire, an angry Max Duca, a working Alfa Romeo, the last lap in Abu Dhabi. Is that the recipe for the fastest lap? It is. And with that, we catch the result. Driver of the day, Matt Pryor. Well, good effort after that low grip position. And well, that race is gonna be cause for a lot of analysis.